Carowinds is an amusement park that crosses the lines of North Carolina and South Carolina. It is filled with amazing rides and some amazing coasters as well. Today I will be ranking all the roller coasters that I rode at Carowinds while I was there for a week-long trip last summer. I'm very thankful for the opportunity I got to be able to go to Carowinds. My friend took me and one other friend there for a whole week, and we stayed at the campsite area inside an RV. It was by far the most fun I've ever had on any trip in my life. Even aside from the park, just being able to bond with my friends on a trip like that was unreal. As some of you know, I used to live in New York and New Jersey, where my real home park was Hershey Park in Pennsylvania. I made a ranking video of the coasters there a couple years ago. I've been living in North Carolina now, though, for about 3 or 4 years, so Carowinds is essentially my new home park, I guess you could say. I've only been there once, which was the week-long trip last year, but I believe I should be going there again with my friends sometime this summer again. If I'm able to get that opportunity again, I will try to record some of it and turn it into a really cool video for you guys. Obviously, this is a different style from the normal type of videos I make. However, I've grown into an even bigger roller coaster fanatic, and I'm really interested in making some more content like this, and even content at the actual theme parks. Hopefully some of you guys that are watching this enjoy that stuff just as much as I do. Okay, let's get into the ranking. Whoa, one more thing. I noted that I am ranking all the roller coasters at Carowinds that I rode. So with that being said, I did not ride Kitty Hawk, Wilderness Run, or Woodstock Express. You can probably see a pattern in those 3 roller coasters. They're all kiddie coasters that we didn't ride because, I don't know, I couldn't really tell you. We were there for a whole week. One more thing to note, this trip was last summer, so NightHawk was still alive and open while we were there, and we were able to sneak a ride on it, so it will be in this ranking. Alright, I think that's it. Let's get into the ranking for real this time.
We're 11.
Coming in at last place with a common layout that we all know and have ridden, with turns that are so sharp they feel like your cart is going to fling off the track like some Polar Express type, is number 11, Ricochet. This is the park's Wild Mouse coaster, so obviously I don't need much explaining for this one. Wild Mouse coasters are infamously known for being painful and just an overall unpleasant experience. To be honest, the only reason why we rode this during our trip was because there was a very funny ride attendant that we met the day before, and he was working at this ride instead of the one that we met him at. And we really wanted to get his Instagram because he was so funny, so we literally got in line for this just to talk to him. And then we had to endure the pain from this coaster afterwards. Aside from the sharp turns I mentioned earlier, this ride actually isn't that bad, except for one part I unfortunately left out. And that is the brakes on the coaster. Oh my god, the brakes are so abrupt on this coaster, our stomachs practically slammed into the restraint, which was an awful way to end the ride. So really it was a no-brainer that we only rode Ricochet once throughout the whole week. These rides piss me off, I'm done talking about it, and on to the next coaster.
Number 10.
The second worst coaster that I experienced at Carowinds is just plain pain. That is exactly what I felt throughout every part of my body on this coaster. Number 10, Vortex. Vortex is a stand-up coaster, which is another coaster type that is infamously known for being pretty painful. My baby makers felt unimaginable pain because of the quote-unquote seat is like a bicycle seat on steroids that is just attacking your balls. Aside from that, the shoulder restraints were awful. Every single element on this coaster, my head was slamming into the shoulder restraints, and I swear I had tinnitus after getting off this ride because of it. The ride climbs a short 90-foot high hill, then has a lame-ass drop into a painful loop, then a painfully sharp turn that banged my head and gave me CTE, and then it went down into this helix close to the ground, which would have been fun if my head wasn't getting slammed into the restraints like a goddamn school punishment in the 1900s. The corkscrew was the climax of the pain. Concussion City and erectile dysfunction coming your way after that. This was the second roller coaster we rode on the first day, which had a 0-minute wait, but all this was the exact reason why we never rode it again the whole trip. Vortex, out of here.
Number 9.
Coming in at number 9 is Carolina Cyclone. This toothpaste-colored roller coaster is pretty similar to everything that I just noted about Vortex, except for the wiener pain. This roller coaster had head pain with it, which is really the only complaint I have about it. But to be honest, this coaster was kind of doomed to have that pain because it's one of the oldest at the park. To be honest, the only head slamming pain that I got from this ride was during the 2 corkscrews. There is no way you could escape from the head slamming during them, though. If you tried to resist it, your head would slam into the other side of the restraint, which is just amazing, right? I do remember coming off this roller coaster with a little headache, but in reality, this ride isn't awful. But if I were you, I'd only ride this once just to get the credit, and that's about it.
Number 8.
At the number 8 spot, we have another classic coaster model that we all know and lie about loving. It's the Boomerang coaster, the Flying Cobras. I will say this Boomerang is actually not that rough, which I really appreciate. It has the vest restraints like Hershey's Boomerang, which is just the smartest way to go about making a Boomerang coaster. The operations on this ride are obviously slower than all the other coasters, except for one, which I will get to later. But it's kind of given that it's going to have slow operations because they can only run one train, obviously. We only rode this coaster once on day 1, and that was it. It's not that bad, it's just, it wasn't worth any more of our time.
Number 7.
Okay, so a lot of you guys are probably going to hate me on this one, but screw it. This kiddie coaster was so fun. Me and my friends trolled on this ride so much. I would probably say that this was the coaster that we rode the second most throughout our whole trip. Yes, at number 7, I have Carolina Goldrusher. So remember that funny ride attendant that I mentioned on my spiel about Ricochet earlier? Yeah, so we met this guy named Andre right here on this roller coaster, and we met him because he was trolling me out of nowhere on the intercom because I was wearing a New York Jets sleeveless hoodie, and he was making fun of the Jets because of how trash they are. Chat, I just got roasted by a ride attendant because I had a Jets jersey. Yeah, we found him. It's the guy who roasted me earlier.
I'll have a good one.
He's right there. But why do you hate the Jets so much?
Look, the day that y'all win a playoff game will be the day that Patrick Mahomes don't win no more Super Bowls.
Hey, and you know what, Andre? Patrick Mahomes lost last Super Bowl against the Eagles, and it was bad. So does that mean the Jets are going to the playoffs this year, and they're going to win a playoff game then? Explain? Look, I'm sorry. Back to the ranking. And then it just became history after that. We would endlessly come back to this ride to talk and joke with him more. I'll tag his social media and put them on the screen right now. He's really cool and really funny. I recommend giving him a follow, and hopefully if you go to Carowinds, you can hopefully meet him. So yeah, Andre probably made me glaze this coaster more than I should have, but it still was just a fun little ride. I mean, we would scream on it for no reason to make people laugh, and in all honesty, the only complaint I have about this ride is how small the legroom is. Obviously, that's given because we're growing teenage boys riding a small kiddie coaster, so I can't even really complain about it. It's kind of a part of the commitment we had to this ride.
Number 6.
Alright, I already know what everyone's gonna say about this roller coaster. Oh, it's rough. It's too janky. Well, god damn it, it's a wooden coaster, and I think it's one of the least roughest and jankiest wooden coasters I've been on. Yes, number 6 is Hurler. Now, I know the name of this coaster is not really appealing, but aside from the name, I thought this coaster was actually pretty good. I think this is the most overhated roller coaster at Carowinds. I believe it doesn't deserve the hate. It's a fun wooden coaster that is, yes, a little janky, but that's given. It's a wooden coaster. It is nothing compared to Wild Mouse at Hershey Park. That's the most jankiest and most roughest wooden coaster I've ever been on. And I feel like people say that Hurler is almost like Wildcat. That's ridiculous. That's actually ridiculous. It's not even close. I believe we only rode this once or twice because it was closed most of the time we were there, which is a little unfortunate, but we still probably wouldn't have rode it much more than that. And I will just say it now, an RMC treatment on this ride would be sick as hell. It definitely would drive a lot more attention towards it, which it doesn't really get now.
Number 5.
Alright, number 5 is NightHawk. Obviously, I know this ride is torn down now, but we were able to sneak one ride on it during the week. There's a lot to complain about, so let me get all that out of the way first. The first aspect I want to complain about is the operations of the ride. I mentioned earlier during the Flying Cobras rank that there was one coaster that had operations slower than that. Well, you guessed it, that's NightHawk. I get it, it's a flying coaster, it's going to have slow operations, but my god, it was just awful. The real reason why the line gets so much longer for this coaster than all of the other ones in the park is due to how slow they unload and load people onto these trains. And to add on top of that, the ride was closed a lot as well. Even when the ride would just open up, it already had at least a 30 to 40 minute wait, which is just insane. The next aspect that was bad about this coaster was the restraints on the shins. Now, I know some people don't complain about this, but I'm an athlete, and I know shin pain. So when I get a fat bar that rubs and holds across my shins the whole time on the ride while all my weight is against it, you can imagine it hurting quite a bit. Now, I know that the shin part of the restraints is needed for safety, but god dang it hurt. But now that I got all that out of the way, other than that, the ride is really cool and really fun. It's an amazing experience being on a flying coaster. It's unlike any type of coaster I've ever ridden before. And unfortunately, I believe there's no more coasters with the model of NightHawk left in the US. Correct me if I'm wrong. But all in all, it's a great coaster. The flying experience makes up for the complaints I had. We will miss you, NightHawk.
Number 4.
Alright, so I love intense roller coasters, obviously, but I met my match with the intensity of a roller coaster here at number 4. I have never been on a roller coaster as intense and crazy as this one before. This ride was just too intense for me that I realized too much intensity can actually ruin a roller coaster for me. However, I still love this inverted coaster to death. Yes, number 4 is Afterburn. I mean, holy crap, this ride is so intense, and with a little bit of roughness mixed in with it, it was easy for us to say that it was just a little bit too much for us to ride it a lot. So in reality, we only rode on this maybe 5 times throughout the whole week. And I know you're probably thinking, Fanman, how could you guys only ride Afterburn 5 times? If you're there for a whole week, that ride is so good. What is wrong with you? You stupid Shut up! My friend puked after riding this on the first day, alright? I think by now it's important for me to note that we went to Carowinds at the perfect time. The park was so empty because everyone in Charlotte was still in school, so every ride was basically a walk-on the whole week. And my friend Keenan, before this, had never been on a roller coaster ever. So after making our way from the front of the park all the way to the back, hitting every single coaster on the way with really no break, by the time we rode Afterburn, he was shot. We rode it on the back row also, which makes it like 5 times more intense. So it was amazing, man, sickening. The only other complaint I have about it is on some of the rolls and turns, my head janked into the shoulder restraints a little bit, but not nearly as bad as any of the other roller coasters that I roasted about it earlier. All in all, this is an amazingly intense inverted coaster. If you love intense coasters to death, by all means ride Afterburn a lot. But if you're like me, don't ride it too much because you might get a little bit of a headache.
Number 3.
Coming in at number 3 is the newest roller coaster to Carowinds, Copperhead Strike. To start, I had never really been on this type of roller coaster before I rode this, so this was an amazing experience. The hang time you get on those loops is just a crazy feeling you don't get on any other coasters. The 360 roll out of the station is also just insane. It's the perfect way to start this roller coaster, which just makes me love it even more. When I was going through that roll, I remember seeing all of the phones that were on the ground under it, so I would recommend not leaving your phone in your pocket on this roller coaster. Which, really, I would recommend on any coaster to not leave your phone in your pocket because it'll fly out no matter what. Unless you have zipper pockets. Anyways, the only complaint I have about Copperhead Strike is how slow the launches are on the ride. Now, I know they're slow for a reason, which is to give you that thrilling hang time. But still, it just really feels like they're not really even incorporated in the ride correctly. But that is the only complaint I have about it. It's the most themed coaster in the park, amazing inversions, and hang time. I love this ride.
Number 2.
Alright, so I kind of don't like that I have the top 2 coasters of Carowinds as they are, due to them being really similar. It's just that this one is shorter than number 1. But look, it doesn't really matter. This ride is just that goddamn good. Number 2 is Thunder Striker, or Intimidator, or Incriminator as we called it on our trip for some reason. Okay, I'm sorry, but Thunder Striker is probably the most boring name they could have renamed this ride to. That's just terrible. Anyways, this ride is probably my second most favorite hypercoaster I've ridden behind Skyrush at Hershey Park. This hypercoaster is very similar to Candymonium at Hershey Park. However, Thunderstriker is Candymonium done right. It's a much longer and more fulfilling experience than Candymonium. The airtime hills on Thunderstriker don't die down on height nearly as quick as Candymonium's airtime hills do. The turnaround on Thunderstriker is just so fun. When you're all the way out there, that far away from the station, it just feels like you're on an adventure. It's amazing. The only other complaint I have about this ride, besides the horrible rename, is the trim brakes in the mid-course brake run. I absolutely hate trim brakes. They're the main reason why I don't really like Candymonium Hershey Park that much, aside from it also being a pretty short roller coaster. But because trim brakes always just ruin the experience of the ride, it just ruins the pacing and feeling you're getting at that moment. The trim brakes on Thunderstriker are not nearly as bad as they are on some other roller coasters I have been on, but I've still felt them a couple times on Thunderstriker. I also absolutely hate mid-course brake runs. This is even worse for killing the pace of a roller coaster than trim brakes. This is just plain stupid. I don't understand why there's a mid-course brake run where it is on this ride. It just doesn't make sense. But aside from those, I absolutely love this roller coaster and would ride it a lot more times if I go back.
Number 1.
Alright, we all knew what roller coaster would be at number 1. Hell, I'll say it now. This has got to be the best steel coaster in the world. Hands down. I don't think I will ever ride a roller coaster for the first time and feel as amazing as I did when I rode this roller coaster. It is just perfect in every sense that I could critique. The operations are extremely efficient. The ride attendants are fast and nice and engaging. The lift hill is at the perfect pace to where you get your will in order before you think you're going to die. Near the top of the lift hill, you can see the skyline of Charlotte in the distance on the left, and it's just beautiful. Of course, I'm talking about Fury 325. That 325-foot drop at 95 miles per hour is the most insane thing I've ever experienced in my life. If you ride in the front, you can't hear shit after that drop. You literally break the goddamn sound barrier because of how fast you're going. If you sit in the back, you haul over that hill and fly out of your seat, and that is where I believe the best road to ride this ride is on. The roller coaster just feels like you're flying and twisting all around as freely and crazily as you can, and that's the best way I can explain it. There's no true words or way to explain the feeling of Fury 325. Everyone in the world should have a ride on Fury 325 on their bucket list. I promise you, if you are scared to ride this, you will never regret riding it after you do. I remember riding this 5 times in a row with my friend Jackson during our trip. Like, it's just perfect. It was the roller coaster that we rode the most throughout our trip. The feeling of this ride never gets old. It is perfect every time. 15 out of 10 roller coaster. There's nothing like this in the world. So please plan a trip to Carowinds and make sure you ride this beast of a roller coaster. You will not regret it. So, in conclusion, Carowinds is a great amusement park. Now, I do believe they have a lot of work they need to do to make this park better. To be honest, the only really good roller coasters at this park are the big 4, Afterburn, Copperhead Strike, Thunderstriker, and Fury 325. Aside from those, there's not much of a supporting cast in roller coasters at Carowinds. Also, Carowinds is a relatively small amusement park as well, so there's not much they can really do about it. To be honest, we only rode the top 3 roller coasters and Goldrusher throughout the whole week, except for a couple other rides on other rides. So that shows how strong their big 4 is and how weak their supporting cast is. But hey, Fury 325 makes up for it, eh? I'm eager to see what's in the future for this park, and I'm eager to take a trip back to Carowinds. Hopefully I'll be able to travel back there again soon, but yeah, that's all I gotta say about Carowinds right now. Thanks for watching, and I'll see y'all next time. Carowinds is an amazing... Oh my gosh, god damn! The corkscrew... I'm gonna... God fuck...
Number 2. Fuck. Ugh.